Welcome to A Course in Miracles. We're ready to continue and move on with this really fabulous conversation. We're going to begin by introducing ourselves. We'll start that way. Mike,
Kelly,
Marybeth,
Linda,
Sean.
we'd like to welcome you here this evening for an exciting conversation, and we're ready to begin. Does someone want to start tonight?
pick me, pick me, pick me.
Linda, would you like to start?
Would you let me start?
Well, please, would you? Nobody else cares? Okay, here we go.
This is paragraph 8. Did you already say that?
No.
Okay.
This is
Paragraph
still
8.
chapter 4, the illusions of the ego.
And it's right teaching and right learning. Okay, so the ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it because in your right mind you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. You are part of reality, which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are His beloved Son, in whom He is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far beyond its reach as you are.
We can't even trust our own ego. Well, that's nice to know that part of me knows that it's not real. You know, part of me knows.
Sometimes we even
Just
listen to
not
that
a
part.
conscious part.
So you'll always be doubtful if you're an ego, is basically what it's saying. As long as you're an ego, you'll always be doubtful, because you can't trust it, because it's not real.
Well, you can't trust because you understand illusion is not stable. You understand that in a subconscious way. You understand the instability. You understand that there's change all over the place, so you don't trust anything. We have that saying, the only thing you can trust is change.
Yeah, the only thing that changes is change.
It's one thing you can always rely on.
Yeah.
Yep.
But prior to this course, everything seemed real.
Some days it still does.
Some days it still does, yeah.
A lot of days
There's a
it
lot of
still
days it
does.
still does.
Yeah.
Well, at least it says when you're afraid, be still and know that God is real. I mean, that's something you just have to remember.
It's saying be still, not go out and do, be still.
When you're afraid, be still. And remember, this one thing that you know is true, God is real.
So when the lion is chasing after you, be still.
Not to be caught, but to remember that God is real. And there's nothing chasing you.
That's right, it's all illusion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember
Don't
that when it
feel
catches you. Don't you call me when you say you're caught. I'll just say, Kelly, it's not real.
Yeah. You're not gonna believe this. I don't know which way we're
We're
going.
gonna go that way.
I would
Go
really,
that way,
okay,
yeah.
I'm the guy that needs to talk loud. Okay. God is not the author of fear. You are. You have chosen to create unlike Him and have therefore made fear yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you are not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this, because it is literally incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you.
That was pretty crazy.
Pretty happy.
Yeah. Let's see. So what is our function?
We talked about that.
You're not at peace. Is it the atonement? Is that our function, just to wake up?
To remember
To
who you
remember
are.
who we are? To return
Is
to
that what it is?
oneness?
Is that what it is? We actually
Is it
talked
that
about,
simple?
about what our function is. Is that what it is?
See, it was really good. It's
Choose love.
totally forgotten.
Yeah,
Just because-
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What is my function?
Well, this,
To be forgiving, number one.
to forget, yes, to forgive ourselves,
Yeah.
forgive others. I didn't realize that we didn't even need to forgive because it's not illusion.
But we don't believe that.
Right, no, we don't.
We talk
forget.
it.
Mhm.
Talk, but we don't believe it.
Exactly.
Kelly.
Exactly. If I believed that, I wouldn't be stressed.
I read someplace in here that, and I think it was Sean in today, when I was reading that part, that
Yeah.
it said, in heaven, there is no forgiveness. It's inconceivable. There's no need. They would look at you and say, what are you talking about? How can you, there is no forgiveness in that place of God because everything is real there.
Everything is perfect.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's consistent, it's love. So any one, if there be a solitary one person talking to another one in heaven, would to say, don't you need to forgive? They wouldn't understand what the word meant. They have no concept
Mhm.
of that quality.
Pretty cool. Let's see. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand us. So is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
So we won't even be able to understand what we're going through here once we awaken?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, because it's just, doesn't even.
It's not
exist.
necessary. It
Yeah,
doesn't
so that's
exist.
really what our function is. You know, when you get there, you're not gonna remember it. So don't even believe it now. If you're not gonna believe it then, don't, cut to the chase, don't even believe it now.
What does that mean, though? When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this, but it is literally, because it is incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable.
So we're not supposed to try to believe it now because we're in the ego state?
Is that trying to force it?
Maybe, that's what it kind of sounds like. Don't try to
Don't
force
try
it.
to believe it,
Because-
just walk through the believing of it through this process.
Yeah, because it's probably like us trying to believe something here, like them trying to believe something there.
There you go.
So it's just too much. It's probably just too much for our human minds to grasp.
And could it possibly mean, though, this course, the intention is to gently and very patiently unwind you in a very subconscious and covert and kind of like, why am I doing that kind of way? So it has to be so tricky that it's like coming in the back door, but knowing it's doing a big thing. So there are parts of it that your mind, just stop trying to figure it out and just do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't figure it out, just like they couldn't understand forgiveness over there.
Right.
Remember last week? When we started reading the next paragraph?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, is
Is
that
I said, I think I might be.
Okay.
All right, Mike, here we go.
Okay.
The ego.
The ego is afraid of the spirit's joy because once you have experienced it, you will withdraw all protection from the ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness to it. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it and do not preserve it. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as is the spirit he created.